A lot of you may not know this because I don't talk about it much on the channel, but growing up, I was a bit of a gamer. Not so much anymore because I don't have the time, but when I did play, one of my favorite game franchises was Twisted Metal. And being the creative person that I am, I always imagined while playing it how I would adapt it into a movie or a TV series. And what I imagined is nothing like what Peacock is apparently going to be giving us later this summer. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So yes, Twisted Metal is being adapted to a TV series on Peacock that will be released later this year. Now, I would love to be optimistic about the prospect of an adaptation of this series, a video game that features outrageous characters involved in vehicular combat.
I'm ready to go in, Coach. Just give me a chance. I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological.
In my mind, the show could be a cross somewhere between Death Race and the Mad Max franchise. Just total non-stop action with some backstory for each character sprinkled throughout. In fact, one of the best games in the franchise handled this concept well, and that was 2001's Twisted Metal Black. This was a dark and mature version of what Twisted Metal fans were accustomed to seeing up until that point. And not only did it continue to capture the spirit of the games that came before, but it also added a more personal touch to the creation of the characters that made the entire game much more compelling.
I like it a lot.
Each character got their own story, which in turn allowed each of them to have their own motivations, and their own reasons as to why they wanted or needed to win the Twisted Metal competition. So if a PlayStation 2 game from 2001 can capture gamers' imaginations like that, then surely a multi-million-dollar company can deliver something even better, right?
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
And before anyone says to not judge this show before we see it, let's recap for a moment so we can in fact see why it is okay for us to judge it now. Because first, Peacock released a teaser trailer for the show. You know, that thing to which its whole purpose is to get people invested in the series?
That makes sense.
And how did they choose to reintroduce this concept to fans, as well as introduce it to the first time to casuals? Well, by, of course, misrepresenting what Twisted Metal actually is in every sense of the word. I mean, sure, the visuals might be close to what the games offer, but does it feel like Twisted Metal? Hollywood has always had a real problem capturing the essence of a video game in an adaptation. And that is precisely why most of these adaptations typically fail.
That's right, it stinks!
The trick is to make longtime fans happy and hopefully also get some casuals interested as well. And unfortunately, based on what we've seen so far, it seems like they're more interested in the casuals than anything. Because what we got in the teaser was Clarence from 8 Mile popping in a road mix as he dances behind the wheel of his car to steal my sunshine.
What's the matter, dog? You in Paris? This guy's a gangster? His real name's Clarence.
Now, call me a traditionalist, but wouldn't a different song choice better represent the tone and feel of the brand? Like, I don't know, maybe a Rob Zombie song, considering he is synonymous with the brand already? I mean, he was even a playable character in Twisted Metal 4. How much cooler would it have been if the main character, preferably not Clarence, was mowing pedestrians down and blowing up cars to the sounds of Dragula? But oh, I forgot, this isn't about properly representing the game. It's about taking something that people love and adding a cringe 2023 quirkiness to it.
Why do these things always happen to me?
If you actually played the games, you would know that Twisted Metal already has its own brand of dark quirkiness. But instead of keeping that energy and making it feel unique, they will most likely make this series feel like everything else. The one highlight of this teaser was our first look at Sweet Tooth and his iconic ice cream truck. And as a massive fan of the character, I'd say they nailed the overall look of him.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
But thanks to the knowledge that I now have after seeing the most recent clip, the similarities with his video game counterpart stop with his appearance. Because as soon as he opened his mouth in this new clip, an overwhelming feeling of dread washed over me.
Why do you cry?
And the latest clip, designed once again to get people interested in this show, features Clarence in an altercation with Sweet Tooth, not in their vehicles, but in a fistfight. What proceeds is enough cringe-inducing dialogue to rival the cringe-inducing song choices from the teaser. Oh, and by the way, Sweet Tooth also proceeds to cue up some of his own music as he proceeds to beat Clarence's ass. And that's when it occurred to me, that's going to be the shtick of this show, isn't it? Playing out-of-place music while life or death situations are occurring to make them less tense.
Something very familiar about all this.
And what does this person who looks like Sweet Tooth but sounds like him in no way decide to play? Well, nothing says Twisted Metal like the Thong Song. Aside from having dumps like a truck, what exactly does the Thong Song have to do with vehicular combat? Or just hurting people in general? Thinking back once again to Twisted Metal Black when they made Sweet Tooth this sadistic and cursed serial killer that was as brutal of a character as I can remember in a video game. He was a legit, intimidating presence, everything from his look down to the way that he carried himself.
Please, no, I got a family.
Shut up and bleed, you motherfucker.
In the show, however, we're getting this Joss Whedon version of the character with quips about Hawaiian Punch and everything. So instead of having a knockdown, drag-out fight, or even better, an actual vehicular combat situation to sell people on the prospect of this show, we have Clarence and Sweet Tooth trading lines from Cisco.
Why?
I finally get to see the iconic Sweet Tooth in live action, and he's talking about trust issues, and possibly being some kind of vocal performer and trying to get Clarence to come to his show. I know that Hollywood thinks that they know best. They're very arrogant people, and they think that they could write a story better than anyone, and back in the day that might have been true. But not right now, and you have to realize that sometimes a video game is popular for a reason.
Damn right, that's the only way I work, Cap.
I realize that you have to take certain liberties when adapting these stories to a new medium, but your ultimate goal should also be to properly represent the game, both the characters and the story. And if you aren't going to do that, then why not just make up a new story? Don't go out of your way to sully the good name of Twisted Metal. That's how video game adaptations got the bad reputation that they are currently trying to overcome. And the more that I think about it, the more that I've come to the realization that certain things are just better left in the medium they were created in.
Y'all be cool. Right on.